Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Still in New York, still having a great time, and I've had a marvelous time. I mean, the atmosphere at the Garden was amazing. I had never been to New York, so I definitely never been to the Garden, and I just had a great time with the fights. I want to give some post-fight thoughts to the Sor Rungvisai upset over Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, and I don't have rounds memorized. I'm just going to freestyle this like I normally do. And first of all, it was a fight of the year type. It was like a back and forth seesaw type of fight, so I really enjoyed the fight, especially getting to see it live. I was actually just talking to people and stuff. Everyone was just enjoying it. We were enjoying it. The first couple of fights, the Ryan Martin fight, the Andy Lee fight, I expected more. So those were kind of dull. But the co-main event and the main event definitely delivered the action and the thrills and made the pay-per-view card worth it, in my opinion. Even though I didn't pay pay-per-view because I'm there, you know what I'm saying? I'm Garden shoddy. But it was a good fight. Me personally, off of the eye test, I did not score it like on paper because again, it's hard when you're working, you're trying to interpret the action, you got people talking to you next to you, and the crowd's going, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of commotion. So and I do like round by round tweets and stuff like that. It's just a lot going on. So unless I'm like making a definitive statement to score it, a lot of times I just do it off the eye test, what I see, and I'm pretty good with that because I've watched enough fights live or even on TV. So it's like certain cops, they have a certain certification they can do, and then they can actually issue you a speeding ticket without clocking you on the actual radar gun. You know what I mean? Just off of the eye, they're able to gauge approximately how fast you're going just based on the eye test once you get that certification. So that's how I feel with like kind of judging fights. I'm pretty good with it. But I did have Roman Chocolatito winning a close fight. I thought he did enough to win. He was the champion, so I had it slightly for him. But it was a back and forth fight, and I told you guys I did a Boxing Ego first look, and the difference between me and them, a lot of people, they are puppets, and they're just quick to anoint whoever, right? And say, this is what I honestly feel, and that's what I always give you guys on my channel. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez is a good fighter. Is he pound for pound #1? Is he ESPN's the best? Listen, you guys listen, hear what I'm saying right now. ESPN put him on the top 25 in the last 25 years list. Had guys like Golovkin and Chocolatito ahead of guys like Miguel Cotto, right? Miguel Cotto, guys like Winky Wright, and I'm like, how? Terry Norris and all these people. I'm like, how are Golovkin and Roman Chocolatito? I made a big video about it. And see, I told y'all, 2017, tell the truth. Tell the truth. The people that don't tell the truth in this boxing game, flat out, you're getting X'd out, period. Because there is no room for that. There's too many good boxing fans that want real boxing talk. All the people with agendas, all the people with these crazy notions and really don't know shit about boxing. It's over. Everything starts from now. Flatline. All that shit is dead. I told y'all it was coming. This could have almost been an Ego. Y'all almost got Ego Veli back. This was almost an Ego Veli video. But it's what I've been telling you guys. And I told you, I'm going to just start changing my name to Mr. I Told You So, right? Because that's what it's seeming like. I'm not always right. I mean, I picked Danny Garcia to beat Keith Thurman. I was wrong there. But I would say more often than not, because I'm not overly radical, a lot of what I say actually comes true, or it's not far from the truth, right? I picked Danny Garcia via decision when people were saying Thurman was going to knock him out. What was closer, Danny Garcia versus Thurman, and I picked a decision, or Keith Thurman's going to knock out Garcia in the first 2 rounds? You know what I'm saying? Because that clearly didn't happen. He hurt him or whatever, and Garcia has the chin. So I told people what it was. Roman Chocolatito, he's a good fighter, but he's not as advertised. He's not the #1 pound for pound. How can you put him above Andre Ward and you're losing to Sor Rungvisai? And this is just my scorecard. Me personally, I had him, Chocolatito, winning, but it wasn't a landslide. It wasn't, okay, you guys heard me when I just said a fight of the year, right? It's fight of the year because they were both kind of matching wits with each other. Otherwise, you don't really see a fight of the year. Now, for Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, Andre Ward, Kovalev, okay, for sure. That makes sense because Kovalev is a hell of a fighter. Andre Ward is a hell of a fighter. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, hell of a fighter with big fight experience, right? Sor Rungvisai is a good fighter, but he was nowhere near the echelon of Ward, Kovalev, or Keith Thurman or Sean Porter in terms of what he's done in his career. In fact, his biggest name on his resume, he lost to, and that was Carlos Cuadras. I'm talking about leading up to Chocolatito, of course. The biggest name on his resume, he lost to. He lost his WBC belt to Carlos Cuadras, and that's how Cuadras became champion, to later fight Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez and later lose his belt to Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, that WBC belt. And then basically Chocolatito loses to Cuadras' leftovers. That's exactly why triangle theories do not work in boxing. Carlos Cuadras beats the guy, Sor Rungvisai. Sor Rungvisai goes on to fight other people. Cuadras meets up with Chocolatito and he loses. Controversial, kind of. Some people thought Cuadras did enough to win, but he loses. And then Roman loses to the guy Cuadras beat. You know what I mean? That's why triangle theories don't work. But a lot of you guys want to buy into the hype, listen to all the stuff HBO. I mean, who's little old Boxing Ego? You know what I'm saying? I got like 60-something thousand subscribers. HBO has millions of subscriptions. But again, they have an agenda. I don't. You know what I'm saying? You can believe whatever you want. But I said it. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez is a good fighter. He's a solid fighter. Good offensively. He does some things impressively. But, I mean, this is not the pound for pound #1 person. And I don't think he really has been. If you had him in the pound for pound at the tail end of the top 10, I don't have a problem with that. That's solid. You know what I mean? Because he did move up 4 weight classes and stuff like that. And offensively, he was putting on impressive performances. He had a lot of fights. But I don't really care about, I'm from the old school, like Roger Mayweather says, who he beat. Motherfucker ain't beat nobody, okay then. Like, you know what I'm saying? And if you look at it, historically, the best names on Chocolatito's resume, he's either had tough or controversial fights with, and or he struggled with them a bit and beat them. Carlos Cuadras, controversial, definitely a back and forth fight or whatever. Arroyo, I covered that fight. It was on the Triple G Dominique Wade fight. He had some struggle with that, went the distance. But who is Arroyo? Brian Valoria, he stopped him, but he actually, the round he stopped Valoria and he was pretty badly hurt. He got hurt in that fight. The Estrada fight, right? Cuadras, and then the very next fight, you have another tough fight and you actually lose this one, and that's Sor Rungvisai. And to me, the pound for pound #1 person should not be losing to a guy like that. He shouldn't be in deep. I understand headbutts and the bleeding and the leaking. This fight kind of reminded me of Manny Pacquiao versus Eric Morales, the first one, because in that fight, Eric Morales, there was a cut that opened over Pacquiao's eye, and Morales was like going for the kill and stuff, and Pacquiao was very bothered by that blood leakage in the cut. You know what I mean? And I would say Pacquiao fared better with his situation, with his cut, than Chocolatito did. Like, Chocolatito was letting it bother him too much, and I understand that's combat. You know what I'm saying? I seen Keith Thurman. He fought with a hematome on his face, and he dominated Robert Guerrero, and his head would look like Angulo versus Lara. You know what I mean? It's a brutal sport. Mayweather versus Maidana. Maidana was at an all-time high in terms of confidence, just beat Broner, was bigger than Floyd, is awkward, has knockout power, has very underrated resume. He's been in there with Victor Ortiz, Amir Khan. He had been in there with Eric Morales. He had been in there just recently with Broner, Jesus Soto Caras, Josecito Lopez. Maidana was trying to kill him. Everybody knows Mayweather is the cash cow. You beat him, you a legend instantly. You're probably rich and getting a whole bunch of magazine interviews and TV spots and stuff instantly. Maidana was coming to bring the pain, and Floyd had a cut in that fight, and he's like, I can't see. I remember Floyd, he sounded slightly panicked in that particular moment because he couldn't see. Then he stayed calm and then got back to work, got back to business. Roman Chocolatito seemed very bothered by his cut. And like I said, I've seen guys, Muhammad Ali fought with the broken jaw and stuff. So, I mean, injuries happen. It was an accidental headbutt. I can't say Sor Rungvisai, I think he got a cut later in the fight. So I can't say that he was intentionally doing it or it was like a game plan or anything. It was just clash of styles or whatever. And I told you guys leading up to the fight, Sor Rungvisai, I did my research. I don't just, if I don't know somebody, I'm not just like, oh, this person's a bum or this. Like even the Pacquiao Jeff Horn. The reason I really am adamant and about not wanting to see it is because I did my research. I don't know Jeff Horn. I don't know anything about him before his name was getting mentioned. I had only heard of him. So I actually did my research, and then after watching a couple of his performances and stuff, I did not see anything in there that would notify me that he would be ready to face a Manny Pacquiao and defeat him. I didn't see nothing in there, right? But I at least do my research, and I did my research. I didn't know about Sor Rungvisai, right? And I knew, I knew about him from the Quadras fight, but that's it. But I haven't really watched and followed his career. But so I did some more homework and I watched his fight game, and I told you guys, and I even did a live stream like 30 minutes, 40 minutes before the actual fights. While the fights were slow, I think during the Andy Lee fight, I did a live stream. It's on YouTube, and I said, hey, that Chocolatito fight, it's on there. The video's up. I said Chocolatito fight's gonna be tough. I said I did my research on the Sor Rungvisai, and he's good. He reminds me of a Takashi Miura, and that's what he does. And he's tough, has power, and he's just relentless. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. He put a nasty, uncomfortable pressure, and he's like kind of like a Takashi Miura / Orlando Salido type by any means necessary. He's from Thailand, and from what it sounds like, I didn't see the HBO narration, but I guess he had like odd jobs and stuff back at home. Boxing is kind of like a David Peralta, the one that beat Robert Guerrero. He's not in a position where boxing is just his full-time job, so he had to work like weird odd jobs in Thailand to make money, like dumping trash or whatever he had to do to make ends meet for himself and his family. So guys like that, they know what it is in beating a Chocolatito or Floyd Mayweather. So I don't know, I feel the same way I've always felt. Chocolatito is solid, but it's funny, man. Like I told you, that I'm having a great time because the stuff I said came more into fruition than it didn't. And that's why you'll start seeing it, man. A lot of these writers, a lot of these other channels, their credibility is done for, because they're the ones saying, oh, Chocolatito, he's the #1 pound for pound boxing ego, and guys like him, they're just hating. Why? Even if you had Chocolatito winning, which I did have him winning, why is he even struggling with the Sor Rungvisai? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, name one person, Floyd Mayweather, and the reason I'm using him is because everyone knows his fights, and he's the former pound for pound #1 guy, right? So name a Sor Rungvisai level opponent that Floyd Mayweather has fought, and he did not, you know what I'm saying? He did not, that he lost or even did not look good versus. Do you know what I'm saying? And you can't say Marcos Maidana. If you say Maidana, you're a fucking idiot, because Maidana, again, he fought, who did he fight? Kotelnik, Devin Alexander, Eric Morales, Jesus Otocras, Josecito Lopez, Adrian Broner, a prime Amir Khan. He has been in there with live bodies, a ton of names, right? He has a Victor Ortiz when he was in his prime and being billed as like the future golden boy, right? So that's really it. That's the bottom line. Like Chocolatito, to me, it was like a manufacture, and it always works like this. HBO and whatever else, they try to manufacture the next pound for pound package, but you can't. And the funny thing is, they actually have fighters like Terrence Crawford who might actually be able to achieve #1 pound for pound success, and there's not even the same backing for them. Terrence Crawford, to me, and I've seen his fights live. I covered at least 3 of his fights live, front and center, great view of the action. And I've always seen more overall well-rounded skills within Terrence Crawford that make him harder to beat than Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. And I even told you that. ESPN, they had Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez on the best 25 in the last 25 years list. And they had him above Golovkin. How dumb do you look for even writing that article? Because Golovkin, a lot of people think he lost to Danny Jacobs. The first time he stepped up with a true middleweight with power, with an amateur experience, with good size and frame, and basically momentum and a formidable opponent, he looks his most suspect. He looks the most human we've seen him. You look at Chocolatito, he's fighting Quadras, tough fight that some people find controversial, and then now he's fighting Sor Rungvisai, and this is the guy you guys are saying were the #1 pound for pound guy, number 1 and 2, and the best 25 and the 25. And I even told you, even when ESPN made that list, look at it like this. I think Golovkin's harder to beat than Chocolatito, and that's proven. Golovkin's very tough, and he has power. You know what I mean? So his style is harder to beat than Chocolatito. So why was HBO saying that Chocolatito was the #1 person? Again, I'm not throwing shade. It's not nothing. I'm not coming from a place of hate. I just never seen it. Again, I've seen more overall complete fighter skills in Terrence Crawford, and I've really studied these guys. Roman is good offensively. Like even how he was doing the angles, it looked kind of sloppy. Versus Lomachenko. Lomachenko has some nasty angles. You know what I mean? Roman, it just, and then he was frustrated with the cut. I don't know. It just wasn't a strong performance, and damn sure it wasn't a #1 pound for pound fighter performance. And I told you guys, the other thing is the pound for pound. You mean to tell me if this person was at welterweight, junior middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight, any of these divisions, if you could put that somehow scientifically manufacture the same fighter and put him in all these divisions, he'd be the top dog? No, I don't think Chocolatito would be the top dog. You know what I'm saying? Like if Crawford and Chocolatito fought in the same division, I mean, I would pick Crawford, period. If Roman and Rigondeaux fought at a catchweight of, like, let's say 118 or something, I would clearly pick Rigondeaux. Clearly. He gets hit too much. Chocolatito gets hit too much. His defense is not really there. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And this is who HBO, ESPN, all these writers, they're saying. I mean, even Floyd Mayweather said it. But again, I'm not going to just say what everyone else is saying. I don't care how unpopular it is. If I don't feel it, I'm not going to say it. This is my channel, my rules, and I just haven't seen it in Chocolatito that he is the #1 pound for pound person. Again, Rigondeaux would beat him. It's funny, Troy King said the same thing, and people got mad. Oh, you guys just hate these fighters, and you only like black fighters and stuff. Whatever. Me and Chocolatito are probably the same complexion. I might even be lighter than Chocolatito, but it's not about none of that. It's about Chocolatito is good. He's solid. It just, you shouldn't be struggling with Arroyo, Estrada, Quadras, and then losing to Sor Rungvisai, as far as I'm concerned. Like, even Ward, like, okay, Ward, even if you had him losing to Kovalev, I don't think is a Sor Rungvisai. Kovalev goes in your backyard and beats your ass. You know what I'm saying? So Kovalev has more big fight experience. And I'm not downplaying Sor Rungvisai. He seems legit, he seems solid, but he doesn't have the big fight experience. The only big fight he really had was Quadras, and he lost that. You know what I'm saying? And then you go look at, he fought a bunch of people in Thailand that no one's really even heard of with half and half records and stuff. So how's this guy beating you, or even coming close to the point where he's beating you? I understand blood, but those are things that fighters have to deal with. I've seen, like I said, Keith Thurman fought with his whole eye was swelling. You know what I mean? I've seen people fight through fights like that. That's stuff that you have to be able to deal with. And if it's happening, maybe that you can watch how you come in or something. Like, there's certain subtle things you might be able to do. You know what I mean? To prevent the accidental headbutts. But Again, it was a fight of the year type of performance. It was definitely a fun fight, especially watching it live. I enjoyed it, but there's no way Chocolatito is #1 pound for pound. So HBO kind of took an L with their cash cows. It's all about telling the truth, man. You got to tell the truth and be honest. I understand marketing someone, but the more aggressive you get, the more pressure you put on these fighters. You know what I mean? If HBO said, hey, he's just damn exciting to watch, I don't have a problem with that. That is selling your product and marketing. But going over the top and saying he's the #1 pound for pound, and it's not just HBO, these channels, YouTube channels and stuff. Again, look at their credibility. I'm out here in New York getting love from fighters, from fans, just from speaking my mind, whether you guys agree with it or not. But I call it like I see it, you know what I mean? I call the kettle black, and that's just how it is on my channel. I'm not gonna say, oh, Chocolatito, because Floyd said it. You see, some of y'all say I love Floyd, but I never agreed that, even though Floyd said Chocolatito's the #1 pound for pound, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a puppet. I don't care who said it. If I don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. But I can always, better believe I can always tell you why I believe this way. And it's just, like I said, who's Chocolatito fought? And I told you guys, already broke it down. In the lighter divisions, those small divisions, moving up could be like 2 to 4 pounds, 2-3 pounds or so, right? Versus the big boy divisions, you move up. Danny Garcia moved up from 140 to 147 and took Thurman's best punch. So that shows me more about him. He moved up 7 pounds and fought a guy who had a knockout at 153 and is clearly a full-fledged, decent, good-sized welterweight, right? That shows me more. Andre Ward showed grit and determination, moving from 168 to 175 and fought the #1 puncher, or #1 puncher with technique, with 2 hands, because Adonis might have more power. They both have really good power, but Adonis is more of a one-handed fighter. Kovalev got power in both hands, and he's a better boxer overall, technique-wise. And Ward went the distance and really won the second half of the fight. You know what I mean? Chocolatito's moving up 3 pounds, and it's clear to me he's struggling more. You know what I mean? Even Broner moved from 35 to 47 and beat somebody. He beat Paulie Malignaggi, who was then a champion. Roman Chocolatito moves up 3 pounds, and his power does not look like it has the same effect on these guys. These guys seem able to take his punch a whole hell of a lot better, right? And they're just generally tougher up there, and they actually seem like they can hurt him, and they are hurting him in exchanges and stuff. And he just seems, I don't know, all these moves up. Everyone, oh, he moved up 4 divisions, but yeah, now in his 4th division, it's not looking like his fight style and game is having the same effect on people. That's my breakdown. Let me know what you guys think. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, he is upset by Sor Rungvisai. Again, I thought Chocolatito edged him, but he left things to the imagination, because it was definitely, seeing it live, it was a close fight, and I thought he was too worried about the blood. You're bleeding. What do they say in Rush Hour? Wipe yourself off. You bleeding. Come on, man. Wipe yourself off. You dead. He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3, but you know what I mean. The blood's there. It's done. Your cut man can try to do the best to diffuse the situation, but you're bleeding. You got to get over that. You know what I'm saying? And it seemed like he was so bothered with that, and like kind of mad and complaining to the ref. You got to stop that, because I said the same thing when Berto fought Guerrero. Berto kept looking to the ref for savior. The ref ain't in it for, you know what I mean? He's not seeing it. He's not calling it. The dirty tactics or whatever you're complaining about, you got to just scrap. And I think that's what Chocolatito should have done. Now, Chocolatito, to his credit, he showed a massive amount of heart. He did show heart, because he was bleeding and he was still trying to fight through it. And I thought he was pot-shotting and stringing some good combinations that were like eye-catching. That's why I gave him the fight. So I did have him winning the fight, but again, he left it for interpretation, and in a close fight, you never know how that's going to go. Let me know what you guys think. That's my breakdown. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.